Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful poncho. It's made from just one simple rectangle that will fold in half and join along the top edge to create the neckline. It's a really fun and beginner friendly project, so let's get started. For this project you'll need some yarn. I'm using a mohair blend yarn, but feel free to use any yarn you like. I used about 4 skeins, which was around 100 grams in total, but this might vary depending on the yarn you use and the size of your poncho. I personally like to use lightweight yarn so the poncho doesn't end up feeling too heavy. You'll also need a crochet hook. I'm using a 4.5mm hook. The label suggested a 3.5mm hook for crocheting with 2 strands, but I sized up 1mm to get a looser look. And of course, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and some stitch markers to help you keep track of your stitches. We're going to start by making a slip knot. I will be crocheting with 2 strands of yarn for this project, but you can also use one if you prefer. To make the slip knot, wrap the yarn around your index and middle finger, making sure it crosses over itself to form an X. Then, place the yarn under your pinky finger to hold it in place. Grab your crochet hook, go under the first strand of yarn and pull the second strand through to form a slip knot. Now that you have the slip knot on your hook, gently tighten it and we're ready to begin the foundation chain. Yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. That's your first chain. Keep chaining until you have the width you want for your poncho. Just make sure your total number of chains is a multiple of 3. If you're unsure what size to make your poncho, here's a little trick. Take a scarf and wrap it around yourself. Twist it so that one side is closed over one shoulder and the 2 ends meet on the other side. Grab your first safety pin and mark how big you want the neck opening to be. Once you're happy with that, decide how far down you want the poncho to fall on your arm. I marked mine just above the elbow. You can move the pins around until it feels right. If your scarf has a pattern or lines like mine, you can use them as a guide to imagine how your poncho will look. For example, if I follow the line straight down from my last marking, that shows the length, and it helps me visualize how my poncho will look once it's finished. Once you're happy with your markings, you can take off the scarf. The distance from your last pin to the folded edge shows the half width of your poncho. Since it's folded, you'll need to double that measurement to get the full length you'll need for your foundation chain. For me, the distance was about 60 centimeters, so I doubled it, meaning my foundation chain should be around 120 centimeters long. I'm not going to make my starting chain as long right now, because I'm just crocheting a small sample to show you the pattern more easily. Also, remember to make sure your foundation chain is a multiple of 3. For my actual poncho, I started with 51 times 3, making 153 chains in total. So now that you have your desired width, we're going to start on row 1. Instead of making starting chains, we're going to use the stacked single crochet method, which will give you nice, even edges without any gaps. To make the stacked start, begin with a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So skip the first chain and insert your hook into the top loop of the second chain. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over again and pull through both loops on your hook. That's your first single crochet. You can see that the single crochet we just made has 2 legs. So next we'll make another single crochet, but this time insert your hook only into the left leg of that stitch. These 2 single crochets sit on top of each other and match the height of a double crochet. This second single crochet counts as your first double crochet of the row. It looks much more like a real stitch and will blend in a lot nicer with the rest of the row. If you're a beginner, I recommend placing a stitch marker in that stitch so it's easier to see where to stop when you come back on the next row. To continue row 1, make a double crochet into the next chain. To make a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. And that's your double crochet. Now you have 2 double crochets since the stacked start counts as the first. Now just continue by making 1 double crochet into each chain across the row, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm now at the end of the row and I've placed 1 double crochet into each chain. This is how it should look so far. Now we're ready to start row 2, and once again we're going to make a stacked start. Turn your work clockwise so the working yarn ends up at the back. Make a single crochet into the first stitch. Then make another single crochet into the left leg of that stitch. And there's your stacked start. I'm once again placing a stitch marker to mark the first stitch of the row. To continue, make 1 double crochet into the next stitch so you have 2 double crochets including the stacked start. Then chain 1, skip 1 stitch and make 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. This creates a little space in between. From here, continue the pattern. Chain 1, skip 1 and make 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. This will create small spaces, each separated by 2 double crochets. Repeat this all the way across the row and I'll meet you at the end. Now I'm at the end of the row, and after your last chain 1, you should end with 2 double crochets. My last double crochet goes into the stacked start from the beginning of the previous row, right where I placed the stitch marker. This is how it should look when row 2 is finished. For the next row, we'll repeat row 1. That means we'll make double crochets across the entire row. Turn your project clockwise and once again make a stacked single crochet into the first stitch. Then make a double crochet into the next stitch. In the previous row, each space was made by skipping 1 stitch. So now continue by making a double crochet into the chain 1 space. Then make 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Repeat this pattern all the way across, 1 double crochet into the space and 1 into each stitch. At the end of the row, you should have the same number of double crochets as you started with. From here on, you'll simply alternate between row 1 and row 2. On row 1, you fill in the row by making a double crochet into every stitch and space. On row 2, you start with 2 double crochets, then make a chain 1 space and continue by making 2 more double crochets. So now we're ready to start row 2 again. Keep repeating those 2 rows until your poncho is as long as you want it to be. I've now made 7 rows and this is how the pattern is looking. As you keep repeating the rows, make sure you always have the same number of double crochets or the same number of spaces on each row. That way your poncho will stay nice and even all the way through. So once you've reached the length you want for your poncho, finish off with row 1, the row made entirely of double crochets. When you make your last double crochet, place a stitch marker through the loop so it doesn't unravel. Don't cut the yarn yet because we'll use it to crochet the poncho together in the next step. Try wrapping the panel around yourself to see if you're happy with the length. Here's my finished rectangle. I'm folding it in half now, which will form the shape of the poncho. I made a total of 41 rows for my panel, which gave me a length of about 48 centimeters. The width of the rectangle was 60 centimeters, but since it's folded, that makes it 120 centimeters, the same as my foundation chain at the beginning. Before joining the edges, you'll want to decide how big you want the neck opening to be. Your poncho should be folded in half, so you have one folded edge and one open edge where the two ends meet. We'll be crocheting along the top edge of the rectangle across the width. Start from the corner where your yarn tail is still attached. That's where the two ends meet. Place stitch markers to mark how far in you want to crochet it together. The further you go in toward the folded edge, the smaller your neck opening will be. I'm also adding a few extra stitch markers along the edge to help keep everything even while I crochet. I placed my stitch markers so that my neck opening will be about 32 centimeters wide. Before we start crocheting it together, I recommend trying it on to make sure you're happy with the size of your neck opening. Now that you're happy with the size of your neck opening, we can move on to the final step, crocheting the rectangle together. Remove the stitch marker that's securing your loop and place your hook back in. Here you can see my stitch markers along the edge. They'll help keep everything even and show where to stop joining the sides. Start by chaining 1. Then find the other end and remove the stitch marker that marks the first stitch of the row. Each stitch is made up of 2 loops, a front loop and a back loop. The front loop is the one closest to you and the back loop is the one farther away. Hold both edges together and insert your hook through the front loop of the first stitch closest to you. Then go through the back loop of the stitch on the opposite side, the one farthest away from you. Yarn over and pull through everything on your hook. That's your first slip stitch. Then move on to the next stitch. Go through the front loop of the next stitch on your side, then through the back loop of the corresponding stitch on the other side, and make another slip stitch. Keep joining the sides the same way, working through the front loop on one side and the back loop on the other, slip stitching them together all the way to your last stitch marker. I recommend keeping a loose tension while you join, so the seam stays soft and flexible, which helps the poncho fold nicely over your shoulders. You can also sew the sides together if you prefer that look. Now I'm at the end and have one last stitch to join. You should now have a crocheted seam on one side and an open neck hole on the other. When you're done, simply cut the yarn and pull it through. The only thing left to do is weave in the ends. Thread your yarn onto a needle and weave in all your ends. And this is what my finished seam and neckline look like. And that's it, your crochet poncho is finished. I hope you enjoyed making it. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more crochet projects. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.